Oh, let's see. Am I online? Am I online? Do I have audio? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Uh, Hello, tech community, tech people, the tech world. Let's say it like that. All right. So I'm online and ready to rock and roll. Welcome back again for another week of technology news. You know, your wholesome place for some weird antics around technology. Let's see. First off, let's talk about where you can be part of the show, be part of the craziness that is technology. So first off, if you want to come and be part of the show, there's different ways you can do this. One of them is basically flat out, go ahead and just at me on Twitter. I don't know how long I'm going to be on Twitter for long, since there's new news popping up talking about it. But right now, I do have Twitter/X on my phone. So while it's still on my phone and while I still think about using it, that's what I'm going to be using for the foreseeable future. So Twitter, if you have a story that you want to add to the rundown for me to be able to read and take a look at, then you can always use uh, Twitter/X for now. I might be migrating over to Blue Sky. I don't know yet. Still debating this. I do have that in my rundown to talk about today. Let's see. They're gaining more people. Let's if you at me on Twitter, both me, my personal channel, well, my personal handle, which is Keon81, and the channel's handle, which is at Community Tech C1 on Twitter. I'll see it, and that way I can share it with other people, because hey, we all have different things that we like. I'm a big nerd about certain things. I might not know about a lot of things, but that's what I'm here for. Oh, Aries in the house, man. Hey, be careful with that hammer, man. That hammer you wield it like Thor. It's very you got to be very responsible. Um, the other way is through the memberships. I let people choose whatever membership you want to be on. There are different tiers. If you do a certain tier, you can participate into the live stream. That's the highest tier. And then, like, if you want to submit some articles, things to talk about, directions you want to put the channel into, there's different other tiers that you can do for that also. Um, and then super chats. So at a certain level, I think that when you spend money, I think that there's more than just a couple of text words that you want to say. So up to about the price of about $15, you can basically come live, say your comments, and then uh certain price tiers outside of that, I'm still working on it. Don't hold me to it just yet, but we're working on that last part. But right now, say up to about $15, and then you're able to come on live, say your piece real quick. Keep it respectful. If you decide to want to go that path, let me know so I can step you through the process. That way I can send you the link via Google Chat. That's what I use to be able to communicate with people. So on the rundown, we got space, cellular, 3GPP, a new social media, dish, EVs, Comcast, and batteries. So that's what's on the rundown. Let's start with T-Mobile and the race to space. All right, so pull this one up. All right, so T-Mobile Starlink coverage just got full FCC approval. Knock that off. Too many ads. So T-Mobile Starlink coverage just got full FCC approval. So what does that mean as a T-Mobile customer? Maybe I might be able to try out Starlink. Try out the cellular from space. Now, granted, I do live in a city, so the only way I'll probably be able to try it out is if they decide to give higher tier customers, which that would make more sense. People who are on higher tier plans should be able to get the cellular from space and be able to use it. And then people who want to opt into it, that would be more of an upcharge, which would make more sense from a business standpoint. I foresee probably to be competitive, I could see all three carriers doing something similar, which is more along the lines of, I would say, offer it on your highest tier plan and then let people either opt in on it as a add-on or kind of ease them into it. I think that trying to do this as an add-on where AT&T is done for their add-on for Turbo is a bad idea, because what you're saying is this is outside of your reach and there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to be able to get this onto your plans. It should be more common sense. Hey, I already pay you this money. If it's that important, add it to your service. But right now, T-Mobile's the first. This is like when you get some people who like to type in first in comments. Hey, I'm first in here. All thumbs up. But right now, T-Mobile has struck first with Starlink. AT&T and Verizon are waiting for AST to get their approval. I think they're in the testing phase right now. But what does this say about the industry at currently? Not stock price wise, but you do look at how companies do move around their stock. So like, no, I'm not giving any stock advice. It's just you look at all the knobs of the panel and all the gauges. You don't just look at one or two. You have to look at all of it. So currently, right now, with Starlink and T-Mobile moving first and getting FCC approval, they must have had some metrics that showed the FCC something along the lines of, "Hey, look how well it's operating. We helped out a lot of people." They end up helping a lot of people in the hurricane zone in North Carolina. So you're looking at more along the lines of, hey, can we move forward? Now, the last little piece of this, you do have that little asterisk in the background for T-Mobile, because T-Mobile and SpaceX wants to operate outside of the cellular band parameters, and I don't think that they've gotten approval for that just yet. So, as it stands currently, I haven't read it. I've been reading articles on this all week. Different publications have reported it differently. Android Police is the one I'm decided to use as a placeholder, basically. But the the biggest thing that might be holding them back, they do have the satellites in space for modest coverage. They do want to put more up and move the satellites in closer, but what they really want to find out is can they operate outside the cellular power restrictions for the cellular band. There's the reason why that might become a problem is due to the fact of interference. So they are able to start playing around and give out their, you know, test phase. I think they're working with in this article they were talking about T-Mobile employees will probably start testing it out a lot more, different places, maybe some trial runs, and then maybe start offering it to their customers later on. So here, they did help out in Florida and the hurricane hit areas of North Carolina. Let's meet that. Let's see. Reuters report that FCC has granted SpaceX the whole go ahead to roll out satellite powered cellular for the next gen networks. That on this article, they don't really talk about the outer band restrictions. Let's see. The question is now since we got a race to space, how is this going to start affecting the company that AT&T and Verizon are planning on using? Where is that? Where is that? Oh, right here. Right here. So SpaceX FCC license, how does this negatively bode negatively for AST's Space Mobile, says Scottish Bank. So basically, with them basically going first, how does this bode well for AST? Is that Aries in the back?
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes, it's your
Hello.
boy lurking in the darkness.
Not darkness.
Yes, sir, in the darkness. What's going on, man?
Darkness.
Everywhere. Darkness. Darkness.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, brother. Chilling.
Man, hey, trying to hold down the ship.
I see.
Trying to make it through the waters.
I get it.
What's going on with you, man?
Nothing much, man. Editing, and more editing.
Are you going to be able to get your project done in time?
In time for what? It's gonna be done when it's done.
Oh, excuse me.
Hey, it's gonna be
Excuse
done
me.
when it's done. You dig?
Oh, hey, you sound like an artist too. It's done when it's done, people.
That's the truth, people. Done when it's done.
It'll be done when I say it's done.
Absolutely.
But hey, so now that T-Mobile has struck first, what do you think the rest of the industry is going to start shaking out?
Pass.
Boo. Boo.
Hey, man. I give honest answers, man.
I know. Hey, look.
That's what I do. Pass.
I get questions on it sometimes. I'm just reporting. Do I have a vested interest in this? I don't have any money in this, but I like to see what's about to happen.
I'll just say pass. Pass the dodgy on the left.
Well, hey, look, let me go ahead and finish it up. Basically, AST is waiting for their approval. So if anybody's curious about what the timeline is going to end up being, I don't think anything's going to happen for this year. You might start seeing a lot more movement into the space race next year, it might start getting a little loud, where everybody starts getting very boisterous. You know, you SpaceX with T-Mobile might start making a lot of noise next year, trying to basically get ahead of everybody. AST is going to probably start touting, hey, look, we don't have any restrictions due to the fact that they don't have the same interference problem. They're all going to end up using like the 850 band for cellular. So it's going to be very interesting to see how AT&T and Verizon play their hand next year in the whole space race.
Yeah.
That's what I'm curious about.
If you like it, I love it, big dog.
Oh, look, as also on the cellular side, I was going through and looking at, where is it at? The 3GPP standard for 6G. So they're starting to work on the interface for 6G.
Uh-huh.
Hold up. And here we go. So they're the 3GPP to hunker down on 6G air interface in 2025. So from reading this article from the Fierce Network, basically they are working on what the air interface, and for people that might not know what the air interface means, is your phone sees the signal, but basically what makes it different from, like, let's say 4G, 5G, and even up to 6G is how the radio frequency interfaces with your phone. That's the weird, cruel way to saying it. But what will the signal look like under 6G versus 5G and 4G? So they're doing, testing this in the lab. They're coming up with different ways to formulate what the cellular band is going to look like underneath the new standard. And so they're starting work now, so they can have it ready by in another 5 or 6 years. So we're at what, 2025 almost. So in another 5 years, they're going to be start pushing 6G upon us. That's if the cellular carriers even decide to want to do it. What do you think, sir?
No,
Do you think that we should really? Well, I'm about to answer my own question with you. I, I know what I'm about to say is going to be like, who cares? But you already know how crazy it was to try to get 5G out. And even like a lot of articles that came down the pipeline were like, hey, look, you know what? We might not see this type of spending moving forward. Even as much as them saying that the whole 5G era that we're in was kind of stupid in the first place, because it gave them too many multiple different ways of upgrading. You had non-standalone, you had standalone, you had semi-standalone, you had different ways of doing standalone, non-standalone. It was crazy. Just so you can get a speed boost.
I mean, the thing is, 4G wasn't different. The only difference is people actually talked about 5G.
True.
Let's just be real about it. There were all the same things happening with 4G. Bro, CDMA was just turned off while 5G is on. CDMA is, I'm just saying, 3G, HPH. This stuff is 3 and 4 generations old. It was still getting turned off during 5G. So that just tells you that it's not different. This is not new. So insinuating that somehow 5G was more complicated than the other ones is the dumbest thing you could possibly say.
Well, I had read this article a couple weeks ago when they were talking about how, like, the rollout for 5G was very convoluted. And
so was all the other ones. Come
But
on, man. Look, hey, let's think about it like this, right? How many versions of 3G were there?
ooh,
That's my
I mean,
point.
hey, look, I
Uh-huh.
mean, between CDMA and
Mhm.
GSM,
You had
I mean, you
your
had
CDMA side, you have your HSPA, you had your there's like 4 freaking versions of just the 3G. So it was
yes.
convoluted as well too. All the companies did different paths as well. So it's not different.
Well,
But I think that history always does this. History always thinks that whatever you're experiencing now is some new thing. No, it's just history repeating itself. 5G was no more convoluted than 3G or 4G. Think about it. 4G, we had a whole nother tech out there during the 4G era that died.
that's
So
true.
I'm just saying this is not different. If
Well,
anything, this is probably more in line than those were.
well, here's the thing. I think the transition from 4G to 5G right now has been way smoother than it was from 3G to 4G. Because
So
remember,
you're
like for
proving my
Verizon,
point. You're proving my point.
so
5G
like
was not
Verizon,
more convoluted.
well, the way that the article was putting it was, look at all these different ways that you could do it, and it needs to be a one direct path, right? But every cellular network is not the same. I mean,
And they
granted, they all
weren't
kind
going.
of end up
That's what I'm
using the same
saying. This
equipment.
article isn't stating any like clarifying facts. This is just the same as it was in every other generation, is what I'm saying. This is a waste of an article, is what I'm saying.
Well, I was having a larger conversation though.
I
I
get
was,
it.
but I was just saying, like, all the hype that we end up getting for 5G, I feel like they were trying to solve some of the issues and the pain points that we saw under 4G and moving from 3G to 4G, right? You know, I had my first 4G phone was WiMAX, and then you know the 4G antenna will be on, but really you fall back to make a phone call was on 3G, and how long it took to finally migrate to a full 4G voice over, uh,
Exactly.
voice over 4G.
Explaining me how that's different than now.
Well, right now, currently, we're actually further along in the whole 5G side of voiceover
Not
than we were for
really.
4G.
Not really.
How so?
Okay. Where's Verizon's full rollout? It doesn't exist.
Verizon's full
What?
fallout doesn't fully exist.
Okay,
That's
then.
true.
So you said further along. How? We're not. We're not at all. We're on the same clock or slightly worse. We're not
Ooh.
somehow. I'm sorry. Vonar is not rolling out faster than freaking 4G voice over NR. I mean, sorry, voice over LTE rolled out. It is not.
Hmm.
You're
I thought
still
that
falling back on freaking other networks whenever you need to do certain things. It's
that's
not
true.
any. It's literally the same. It's nothing different.
But I looked at how, like, for 3G, I mean, like 3G, all the different flavors of 3G we had, it never really blended well into 4G. It was all 4G or bust. And
And,
the only time you did fall
and
back to
voice over
3G was,
NR. So explain to me how voice over NR is different than that.
well, the movement from 4G to 5G has been more like in different paths, depending on where the cellular carrier
You're
was in
talking
their
in circles.
deployment.
You're talking in circles, sir.
Well, I'm not trying to.
Everything that happened from 3G to 4G is the exact same happening from 4G to 5G. It's not different.
Well,
You're literally just saying it's different and then describing the same exact thing.
I mean, I'm being very broad. I'm being very broad. Like, understand, like, if I wanted to narrow it down, it for Sprint's version was bad. Like, you had WiMAX and they went to 4G, then they went to LTE, right? So their path was like dirty, where Verizon's path was a little bit more planned out, right? Now, granted, they had the bigger network, so they could flick on the switch all together, and then that's how they end up going full 4G was all at once. Where now we get pockets. Like, if I'm here in DC, you're in Greensboro, somebody's over in Kansas, you saw 5G standalone in different areas, but then you fell back to NR. You fell back to
You are
non-standalone.
still, but you're still 99.999% on non-standalone on all three networks.
True. I mean,
Which is my
outside of
point.
major cities, you are.
No, even in major cities, it's exactly like that. 99% of the time, you were on non-standalone.
I don't know, man.
Well, then pull up your AT&T line right now and show me it's on standalone.
Well, see, that's AT&T.
My point. That's my point.
Well,
we're talking about all networks. We ain't talking about just T-Mobile.
Okay.
And even T-Mobile is staying on non-standalone 99% of the time, even in the major cities. And the reason why is if you happen to be using data and in a phone call, guess what? It ain't gonna stay in standalone.
No, it does. It drops back.
That is my point. That's why I'm saying it's not different. There's not some new, smoother, more concrete path than 4G, and 4G had no smoother concrete path than 3G. It's not. There's no such thing, bro. 4G was like 4 years old, and AT&T was still running freaking HSPA plus.
Oh no,
they were still trying to
figure out a way.
Was still running 2G until like a year and a half ago in a bunch of places.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. There's not happening. It is not better. It's just not.
Well, I mean, look, as a person who's a nerd about it, I do see advantages that they were trying to implement. Right? You had different you basically had different stages. You had different stages in rollouts, right? Everybody had different ways they were going to do their deployment. Sprint was dirty. Verizon was a lot more cleaner. AT&T was like, yo, we're just going to stay on HSPA plus as long as we can. Matter of fact, can we add another plus on this? Oh, matter of fact, can we just like call it whatever we want to call it in our icon? That's what AT&T was doing. But I'm just saying, like, for the timeline where I feel like we're moving way faster
like I said,
now.
You feel
they're
like
already talking about.
It's not. Think about it.
True.
We are over. We're what 6 years into 5G, sir.
Yes.
Okay, then. So let's look at the 4G era. Verizon started voice over LTE. They actually.
Hold up. Say it again. Oh, I think he's about to drop out again.
Verizon started freaking voice over LTE in 2013. They didn't even get to like 60% until like 2017.
That's true.
So it's not different.
I feel like we're moving too
remember,
fast.
I want you to realize something. We started. I think Verizon, they started giving everybody LTE SIM cards right around 2013, because I remember that transition. 2012, somewhere between 2012 and 2013, everybody was getting different SIM cards. The Droid line was still a thing in like 2012.
But the Droid line was starting to die though.
Yeah, it was. But I remember the first LTE SIM card I ever saw was in a freaking Droid X2. And that was like 2012. Verizon still had places with no VoLTE in 2020. So,
dang.
And guess what? Standalone calling is going to be the same or longer time of period.
But you know what? I'm just saying, meaning, like,
put it like this: we're going to get to 6G, and we're still not going to have voice over NR in more than 60% of any of these networks. That is literally consistent. That's all I'm saying. It's not faster, bro.
But you know what? But here's the thing. The reason why I say it feels like we're moving faster, because the way that they look at it is like a 10-year jump between each generation, right?
Yeah, but that's never been true.
But we just now saw, like, I just now saw AT&T in certain places finally hit like 500 megs on LTE. And I was like, I've never seen
that. But I was seeing AT&T do 400 and 500 megs during LTE.
Yeah,
that's my point. When
the most I saw
5 carrier ag on AT&T, yeah. If you live in a market where they had like 10 megahertz to 66, freaking what's it, 15 megahertz of band 2, then another 10 megahertz of 29, then another 10 megahertz of, you were seeing 400 and 500 if you were on an unloaded site already in the LTE era. So what's crazy is AT&T is actually slower now in my area than they were during 4G.
You know what? I
They went
also
from
have.
they're getting
You know,
300 now with C-band and DoD on.
do you know what? Hey, so do you know between me and you, we had some phone calls, and we do video chat, right? I will have to say this, and I have to say this live. Ever since T-Mobile has turned on, I guess trying to go Vonar, full Vonar, their network is starting to slow down.
It sucks.
It's starting to slow dramatically.
Big facts.
I understand. Look, I know this. You know, one of the guys called me, 5G Jesus, whatever, for T-Mobile, and I'm like, bro, understand something. I'll call it like it is.
Sounds like they need
real
a daddy
quick.
or a savior.
But no, hey, look,
Tell him I said it.
phone calls between me and you, phone calls between me and my wife. Calling other people haven't really been an issue. But I could tell like certain places where I should have good service has been very, very bad in reception wise.
And
And I
look,
don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's something on their back end, maybe even trying to do network slicing is interfering with their ability to be a lot more snappier, because non-standalone was way quicker in access than it was in underneath standalone.
oh, and I will tell you something else. Ever since AT&T started actually rolling out their DoD and C-band, they're slower than they were with LTE, but on top of that, they're experiencing random loss of service.
What?
I've experienced it. Other people I know are experiencing it. Ever since they began to roll out DoD and C-band in my area, you'll out of nowhere go to no service.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's like some standalone is turned on and your phone's trying to switch to it, but then it can't. So then it falls back and it just keeps doing it. Oh, yes.
Oh,
I've had other people in my circles tell me they are seeing the same thing. You're literally sitting there with full bars and out of nowhere. And guess what? I had the same problem when Verizon started C-band. I don't know if you remember, I told you my phone would go to searching for signal out of nowhere, randomly, right in front of a tower. Right in front of a tower. AT&T is doing the exact same thing now in my market. It went from never has an issue to you're literally 1,000 feet from a tower and it tells you there ain't no signal. Random as crap. And then out of nowhere, you're right back. It's something going on with the way they got the cores set up, or there's some kind of glitch in the system. Verizon's figured it out, but AT&T is just now entering this realm. It's something to do with the optimization with the sites. That's part of why I think they're slower as well. They've added the C-band and DoD on all these sites, and out of nowhere, there's random service disconnects, just like Verizon had. It's a symptom of 5G as far as I can see. And I guess they're throwing it up and not optimizing it properly. So I feel like the phone's trying to switch between bands, and out of nowhere, it's just like, I don't know what to do. And it drops service. Yeah. And then it comes back. And Verizon did the same thing for like 3 months when they first put out C-band.
You know what? I mean, I would use it, but you know what? Here in DC, they just stayed on LTE more than anything, and it was like, C-band was kind of like an afterthought for the most part.
Yeah,
until now
in the major city, AT&T has rolled out DoD and C-band across the board.
I can officially say that, but you know what? The performance of it
is
slower
than
there.
LTE. Yeah, it's slower than LTE.
The performance is nowhere close.
What I think it actually is that they've thrown up that C-band stuff, but they haven't upgraded the backhaul. So what you're probably seeing is that whatever non-standalone configuration you're getting thrown on is basically I think the sites are starved because it has more bandwidth now than it has backhaul. That's the only thing I can guess, because that's the only thing I could guess why a site. Basically, what I'm thinking is this. I might do it tomorrow. I'm thinking about just disabling 5G altogether and seeing if it goes back to how it was before. I haven't done that yet, but I can go ahead and tell you that on 5G right now on AT&T, it's getting like 300 megs max. And bro, I was getting better than that on LTE.
Oh, I'm actually seeing that same thing when I've been doing my testing, especially around the DC area right now. Yeah. I've been seeing the same thing where, what is it? It just seems like they could be performing way better than they should. No, don't get me wrong. The access is very good. I mean, like, we're talking about sub 10 millisecond pings, but it was just no capacity there. but the amount of spectrum they have on air don't match. Which, like you just said, is basically just no capacity. They got all the juice on the air, but there's nothing pushing it. I don't know. Now here's the thing. With them working on the 6G air interface, this article was talking more about the next upper bands. So we're talking about what is it, 6 megahertz, 7 and 8 megahertz bands. I don't know if you saw my rundown. I went and found the cellular bands for America. It is a atrocious mess. So here, let me show people what it looks like. What it looked like. Where is that? Gonna pull this up. So if anybody's curious about what the cellular frequency allocation for radio spectrum looks like, here, take a gander at this. So this is what it looks like in the United States. A hodgepodge mess of crazy. And trying to read it is damn near impossible.
It looks like somebody had one of them big like boards, and they had a big thing of paint with all the colors in it, and they just spun the board and let the paint spill.
Yo, I was starting to look at this today. I'm like, yo, where am I at? All so right, okay, so let's see, 300 megahertz to 3 gigahertz. So we need the upper bands for right here.
Oh, so I'll go ahead and tell you
between 3 gigahertz and 30 gigahertz. You got the 5G, not 5G, but the 6G allocation for the 6G air interface that they want to start using. Let me make sure I don't lose my spot.
Very low quality photo you got there.
Yeah, well, my computer needs a little bit more horsepower.
The picture itself is low quality.
Oh no!
Even when it's clear, it looks like crap. It's clear now, though.
Well, I'm zooming in.
I will blame your internet connection before I blame the computer.
All right, so
it's likely your internet's garbage.
So within the 5, 6, and 7 and 8 gigahertz range, before you even get to 10,
so you got
this is the block that we got to play in.
6.4 to 6.5. So that's 1,000 megahertz right there. Then you're sharing right there from the 6.8 to 7.0. It's being shared. And then you got 7.125. Wow,
there's some mobile allegations in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
But I don't understand what the fixed is.
No, that's fixed satellite.
Oh,
yeah. This is why I said it's sharing. So SpaceX, it even says it. It says SpaceX on there.
Okay.
SpaceX is sharing that space, 6.8 to 7.0 in that range. So basically,
I thought SpaceX was operating more in the 12.
Nah, buddy.
Well, hey, this thing right here is basically showing.
Shows what
it gets worse as you go higher.
Exactly. But let's also look at a lot of this, right? A lot of this is gonna go away. And the reason why I'll tell you this is why. So for example, if we look at meteorological, everybody knows, if anybody who does know, you know that the majority of the services that would operate using those bands are no longer actually operating their own services. They just get their info from another company for all the weather stuff.
That's very true.
So technically, everywhere doesn't need those bands dedicated. So I mean, a lot of this stuff can probably be reallocated because it's not being used anyway.
Well, hey, look, if we can, well, one of the biggest things is going to be, especially as we start moving into multi-gig setups, is going to end up being like, hey, where's this extra spectrum coming from?
Well, look right over there where it says 12.2.
Oh,
That's where it's coming from. The broadcasting satellite. The greeny green in between. 12.2, 12.7.
Right in here?
12.2 to 12.7.
I see it.
That is Dish and DirecTV KU band. That is going to die. And then if you keep it going, you go up to 17. Also going to die.
Man.
That's going to die. Only one going to be left is going to be that KA side, which KA is already being operated in millimeter wave as well as terrestrial satellite. Or whatever.
I mean, look, I see this to be more valuable than I do millimeter wave. So the amount
mobile.
Yeah, the amount of use case in more usable space. This is way more feasible.
But this goes back to us needing a reshuffle. They need to reshuffle this stuff and do it smarter. All this hot mess happened because everybody only needed a little bit back then. So now you have like an overabundance of unused airwave for example, look at how many say space research, and they're all scattered all over the freaking place.
All over the place.
Why don't they just have a straight like 2,000 megahertz allocated to just them all together? You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
But this is why we need a nerd in the we need a nerd in the building, because a nerd in the building would come in and say, okay, look, man, let's just go ahead and give 2,000 to space research, and it's going to be from this to this.
Yeah,
done. Just stop. Done. And then look, we need a big chunk for terrestrial wireless. Let's forget it. Go ahead and just do 3,000 megahertz or 4,000 megahertz between like 7 and 12, and just be done with it. And just reshuffle it all. And that way, but the thing is, everybody would benefit, not just cellular, but even the space side. They would have way more bandwidth for any of their needs than they do now, because of how complicated they made this thing. It's ridiculous.
But you know what? But because it's complicated, now what ends up happening is everybody, especially the more competitive side, like, when it comes, let's say, talking about just cellular side, they would rather chop off their nose.
Who cares
than
about
to make
them?
it
the
easier
government needs
across
to come
the board.
in there and be like, look, we need more clean, dedicated spectrum for all these things. The way we done it in yesteryears is no longer valid.
Not yesteryear.
Us giving this company, we're going to give this one 100 megahertz and that one 10, and then this one 45, and then that one 10. It's like, okay, space research, we're going to give you random blocks of 10 megahertz all over the place. like no. Put 10 blocks next to each other, 100 megahertz,
and then
each.
you get this. This section. Look, everybody fits in this room here. You don't play in the hallway. But you don't go.
The problem comes in though is that all these companies or certain places have already purchased equipment to operate in these things, and now they're going to try to use. Oh, if you do that, you're going to make us all have to change all of our equipment. And I'm like, dude, you guys are probably going to upgrade that crap anyway to some newer version in the same spectrum region. You're just going to pretend like it kills you so you can get the government to pay for it.
Hey, look, you saw what they did with C-band. It's going to bring down planes. Wait a second. You just want somebody to put those filters on for you.
They just want somebody to pay for it. It ain't even real. They were going to upgrade this stuff anyway, probably. They just didn't get around to it yet.
You just want somebody to put them filters on for you.
But I mean, it is what it is, Honda. But the reality is this, right? Like I said, everybody around me always goes, we all need so much more bandwidth. I just don't believe it. I believe that the reality is this: if we can get every macro site to have roughly 2 gigs of throughput, we will be good for the next 10 years.
Whoa.
Next 10 years will be fine with 2 gigs of throughput. From 2025 to 2035, we will be perfectly fine if every macro can push 2 gigs through.
No radio, I am not satisfied unless I can download the Library of Congress in 5 seconds.
Yeah, and when that happens, your phone bill is going to be $300 a month as well. Bro, I want people to understand something. We don't even have true dedicated home internet. Even on fiber optic, you do not have true dedicated home internet. Yet you want dedicated speeds on a wireless site. Good luck with that. Good luck.
No. Hey, look.
Even in a fiber neighborhood, you are not dedicated. You are 99% sharing a 10 gig connection with like 60 people. Okay. Just because you do a speed test and you see 2 gigs don't mean anything, because if other people in your neighborhood actually run at the same time as you, ain't none of y'all getting y'all full speed. Promise you.
Look, man, we all believe that we all believe that we're getting what we're per gallon or per whatever, but really all that water comes in the same exact way. But no, I was just curious.
It's a bad joke, is what it is.
It's a
when I try argue with me that point, I would love to have this argument with you. Just make sure you know the exact equipment deployed in your area before you make that jump out to play that game with me.
Hey, look,
just make sure you know what's actually in your area.
99.99% of the people don't know what is in their own area.
They just think they do, and they talk a lot.
They look, is that box? What's that box over there in the corner? I don't know. Go touch it and tell me what it is.
Well, people be telling me all the time, yeah, the node's right out in the front, and I go like, that's an amp. Like, what are you talking about? Go back to your house, be quiet somewhere.
I have no idea what they look like. I'm not even gonna act like I know what they look like.
Unless you work on them, you won't. Here around the corner, I'm like, so it's I'm like, bro, that's a power supply. Like, what are you even talking about right now? Like, go back in your house and mind your business. You don't know what you're talking about.
Look, go touch grass. Don't go touch that box. How about that?
If you don't actually work in the industry, in the field, touching the equipment, I don't want to talk to you. I don't care if you're in sales. I don't care. You don't matter. You don't know what you're talking about.
But look, how do we encourage the youth of tomorrow?
How about look up the manufacturers that make the daggum equipment that's being deployed around the world, and then you draw a conclusion about what's in your neighborhood? Maybe.
It's about the youth of tomorrow, sir.
Maybe. And then even then, maybe you'll have a clue what's in your neighborhood.
Maybe.
Maybe you'll have a clue, because you don't know. You just think you know. But that goes back to, like I said, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about things they've never done in real life. If anybody here has fiber optic and you think that means you have a dedicated connection, you're already too dumb for the conversation.
Hey, look, I'm not that naive, sir.
People really believe that their fiber's dedicated. It's hilarious. I hear it every day, and I'd be laughing my butt off.
Hey, look, I know just enough to get myself in trouble. That's what I tell people. I know just enough to get myself in trouble. So
yeah, but it's hilarious, man.
Yo, on a separate trip, sir. Have you considered changing your social network?
What do you mean by that?
Because there's a new kid on the block.
I don't even understand the question, but go ahead.
Well, there's a new social network.
You don't change social networks. You add social networks. Everybody knows that. Okay? Everybody knows you don't change social networks. You add them.
Whoa, you don't never leave?
No, who does that? I'm still a member of MySpace. What are you talking about right now?
Is MySpace still functional, sir?
I can still pull up my page. At least I could a few months ago when I tried. My music started playing and everything.
Man, so somebody else is paying for the servers. That's what that
somebody
is.
Paying for that server.
Somebody paying for the servers.
I feel bad for homie.
Well, look, Tom got out of that game a long time ago, sir. He ain't in that game no more. Yo, so what is Bluesky? Everything to know about the ex-competitor.
Ex-competitor?
Yes.
I mean, is that even a real statement? Who cares about Twitter? Nobody.
Hey, look. Hey, apparently a lot of people.
Twitter, but Elon. Idiots care about Twitter. Smart people know that is a dumb place to put any weight in. The freaking owner is a lunatic, and he literally has the website coded to make him look more important than he really is.
No, if you're a billionaire, you might as well let people know that you're the most important thing in the world.
Oh God!
Without you, there's no Jesus.
Oh my Lord! Oh my! One of my old records is still on my MySpace. This record called "My Girl" that I did with Jay Bryant. Shout out Jay Bryant, Carolina's finest. You know. Look, you made me pull it up. I can still log in, dog.
Hey, show people. We gotta show people. I want to see. Does it really still look the same?
No, it don't look the same, but I can still get in.
I want to see what it looked like.
And I have two pages. I have an artist page and I had a regular page because I had to have both back then.
Wow.
Check this out. Let's see here.
Go ahead.
MySpace. Talk about throwback. Look at your boy getting his makeup applied for a movie role I was doing.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of white space over there, though.
Yeah, but it's because I think the website's breaking down like one thing at a time. Oh Jesus! The whole website is like breaking one thing at a time.
It's disintegrating right in front of our eyes.
This is an old record that it don't seem to want to play that I made long time ago.
They acquired the assets, but didn't get the back end.
That is hilarious. I forgot who it was, but a celebrity bought MySpace. I forgot which one it was.
I forget who it was too.
Let me see what's going on here. Yeah. Let me see. Let me go to my other account and see if I can get into it or not. Let's see. How do I even sign out of this wannabe social media page that died?
Yo, the fact
we showed them the past and you're gonna show us the future.
You know, the people are migrating, man. They put a ticker up. They put a live ticker up.
Bro, okay. I want you to realize Facebook tried this with Threads. Did you not see Threads?
Yeah,
this was already tried. It didn't work. Okay.
Hey, look, man. Look. It didn't work. You know why it didn't work? Hey, we didn't get the Taylor Swift crew. The Taylor Swift crew is leaving. They all said they leave.
Bro, they were pretending to be there in the first place. Let's just keep it real. Nobody cares about Twitter anymore, bro.
Well, it's vague. Even right now, I'm trying to use it to promote the YouTube channel, but understand there's no real traction there. Look. The reason why I'm even thinking about Bluesky right now is because for the last 2 or 3 months, people who are opting to follow me or my channel have been weird things. You know, I'll pull. I get a notification and somebody says, "Oh, your channel is so nice," and it'd be like softcore porn. Like, what in the world?
They'd be like, "You should join us," and you click it, and it's like in an orgy.
Yes, and I'm like, "Oh my god,
what's going on right now?
Like, what are y'all doing over here?" Which is, like I said, hey, I need a more adult place to conduct my business.
There is no more adult place in the planet. It's only look. There's a movie called Idiocracy. It predicted the future perfectly. Okay. We are living in Idiocracy right now as we speak. It is what it is.
Justin Tech, what's going on, sir? How you doing? He says the only true dedicated fiber optic is Verizon Fios.
No, it is not. The only way you have dedicated even those aren't dedicated anymore. Because dedicated means you have an independent fiber all the way to the hub. You do not. I promise you. The only difference between PON and the old stuff is PON is more passive. The old stuff still had amplifiers and OLTs in the field. It was just not passive. That's the only difference. So where in the old stuff, you would have had something still hit an OLT somewhere, but there's still other amplifiers and splitter devices in the field. PON just removed the amplifiers and splitter devices from the field. That's the only thing that changed with PON. So with PON, you only have amplification and split at the OLT. In non-PON, you had an OLT, and then you still had splitters and amplifiers after the OLT. PON removes them after the OLT. That's the only difference.
We're gonna go into a deeper dive in a little bit because I got another
look
story.
Up a network
diagram. Gonna go into it.
Look up a network diagram for non-passive, and the only difference is they added there's less amplifiers. That's it. You're still sharing somewhere, sir. Promise you. The only way you're getting dedicated is if you order dedicated.
Which normally it comes from you being a company or a business. Residential, exactly. I don't see residential getting dedicated anything.
All PON did was make fiber optic cheaper. It wasn't the difference between dedicated and not dedicated. It just was cheaper.
But let's go back to this real quick. Let's see. So the new social network kid on the block. Hey, look, I signed up for Threads when it came out. I tried to use it a little bit. It wasn't nothing going on, so I haven't touched it. But you know what? Here's the thing. I would like to get away from the whole universe of both X and Facebook. I mean, that's just me. I would like to get away from them and having some actual competitor on the market instead of just by default. Like, the billionaire decided to buy the default, hoping that you're gonna end up being God in your own mind. And then, hold on one second. What? Oh, the watch. But they even I just read an article talking about this. They said that Elon is suffering from like social media poisoning or something, which I find that to be kind of funny. I mean, when you make everybody have to see your post. But what is Bluesky? Basically, it's I didn't know this, but an open source version of Twitter before Twitter got bought. So Jack Dorsey, anybody who's nerd enough to know, he used to be the CEO of Twitter. He commissioned a more open source framework. So basically, think of Mastodon, if you know anything about that social network. And I've tried to use that one, and that is super complicated. They try to do Mastodon from the more nerdy side to try to bring it more towards the forefront of more user-friendly side. And even Mastodon has worked on trying to make their network a little more user-friendly. So the thing is I'm starting to get callbacks from early Twitter days when they made everything accessible, but then they all of a sudden shut everything down because they wanted to start making more money. One of the things that what happened with Twitter in the early days, you could make an app. It was like multiple different apps out there to use Twitter because Twitter gave you the access to the fire hose. You got access to all the tweets all the time, and then they started restricting it, and then they wanted to start charging people for the fire hose, and then all of a sudden now they're like, hey, we're gonna cut everybody off. I mean, some of the reasons why people even use Twitter was because their app was way more their app was way more intuitive to use. I feel like we're kind of going back to that now. I mean, they're saying that the Bluesky is a more of a open source framework that mimics what Mastodon is doing. So nerdy on the underline, but more user friendly than what Twitter/X is today. So I might end up creating a profile. Is the last time I saw somebody show it, it was like 25 million people are on it currently. And that's what the ticker was last night. So Mr. Aries, do you see yourself moving over,
No,
migrating to,
I don't use
or
Twitter, so I wouldn't be moving.
what?
I wouldn't be moving because I don't use Twitter in the first place. Ain't nothing on Twitter but porn and hurt
Look, like I
feelings,
said, hey,
political
I said
junkies.
I said it was softcore porn. But let's see. If you want to go to TechCrunch to get a little bit more information about it, I recommend to read. It does kind of give you an idea. I have not gone up there and signed in just yet. I'm debating on, do I make a YouTube channel focused Bluesky account or more personal more personal Bluesky account. I do have both on X, but I don't know which direction I want to go in just yet. I got too many apps as it is. Um I don't even have TikTok yet, and I know that I'm gonna have to put that up there and and have a presence there too. So all these apps and nowhere to go. But they kind of break down everything and let you know some itching questions that you might, if you had any. Let's see.
I got some learning information for folks.
Uh-oh. Drop some knowledge.
You know the difference between old fiber and new fiber? Here it is.
Nothing.
No, there's a lot of difference. I'm talking about as far as PON versus active. That's what the gentleman said. He said that old Verizon fiber, when it was active, was dedicated. Well, this is just simply not true.
Uh-oh.
Even on an active optical network, in the old fiber networks, you were still splitting with 500 people. When modern PON, you're only splitting with 32 to 64. Mm-hmm. So you're actually less people on the connection in new fiber, not more. Why? Because the OLT is much closer to you.
Right.
And there's a 10 gig SFP that feeds an optical splitter for each section of the neighborhood. In the old system, you might be 70 miles from the OLT. Not 70 miles, 70 kilometers, which is like 30 miles. Right. Versus now you're 10 miles or less from the OLT. And I'm going to tell you, it's actually shorter than that. Most OLTs are like within 5 to 6 miles of a fiber.
Well, because they're building out a lot
more
closer
dense.
to people.
So no, old fiber optic was not dedicated either. The only dedicated is business fiber. If you had a residential fiber on old Verizon or old AT&T, you were actually sharing with even more people, which is why you had limits so low for the speed you could subscribe to.
Oh.
10 gig is not a new thing, but it's new to home internet. I wonder why. If you were dedicated back then, why couldn't you get 10 gig? This goes back to people not knowing what to talk about.
All right, so Justin said it was a business line.
Well, then that wasn't residential. We're talking about neighborhoods of 300 homes. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Verizon has never given 300 business lines to a residential neighborhood. It's never happened.
I mean, when they have zones for that, like different areas will get certain things and wouldn't.
No. When you run fiber, you might run 128 pairs out to a splice box. Within that splice box, you could have fiber neighborhood, you could have business fiber on a pair, you could have cell towers on a pair, hospital on a pair. You can split all these fibers up for different things, but you can take a pair of fibers and just dedicate that to an OLT.
Right.
And then that OLT in a passive setting, then that OLT will have what you call a backplane or whatever, which is like the most data it can move, period, between it and the hub. And then each SFP port, depending on the SFP cards you use, you have a data limit with those. Most currently deployed stuff is 10 gig SFPs. Period. Most actual deployed stuff is 10 gig SFPs. So that means that if you have 10 gig EPON or 10 gig GPON, whatever, you're still sharing that 10 gig SFP with a bunch of people, which is why when you see this thing on this picture, it says Matter of fact, I think maybe share this tab instead. Right here. Here you go. Passive optical network. You're splitting into 32. So when it says splits to 32, it's referring to an SFP card that is going out of the SFP, is going into a optical splitter, and it's splitting 32 times for 32 homes.
Right.
So there's 32 people on a 10 gig SFP. But I'm going to tell you, it's actually 64 in a bunch of these places. Go ahead and tell you, it ain't even 32. It's like 64 on some of these builds. In the old days,
but the thing is with the technologies, I mean, they can end up going even higher.
Yeah, but they have to upgrade all the SFPs. But I'm talking about already deployed equipment.
Right.
I'm going to tell you, every provider is not running out right now to put in 20 gig SFPs. They're just not.
No.
So what would maybe happen is this. If you just happen to be a residential customer in an area where they're offering like really high speed, like AT&T is doing 8 gig to your neighborhood now, most likely your neighborhood has a 20 gig SFP. And when I say your neighborhood, I may literally just mean like the 32 homes in the corner of a bigger subdevelopment. If there's 300 homes in a subdevelopment, like 32 over here in this section are all on one SFP card. And it'll be 32 over here on this SFP card, and 32 over here on that SFP card.
Well, see, you know what? This segues well into the next subject I was going to bring up. So let me pull this up. Let me see if I can pull this up right next to what you're doing. Share now.
But yeah, 500 people on a single SFP back in the day. That's versus 32 today. You were less dedicated on the old stuff, not more dedicated. So make that clear. Unless you actually had a business line and you're paying $1,000 a month for it.
So they're talking about DOCSIS 5.0, sir.
Yeah, of course they are.
Cable strives to survive.
Yeah, of course they're talking about it.
Or is it prolonged?
4.0 ain't even look, bro. I just want y'all to realize something, right? Everybody, listen to the thing, right? This is why I laugh at this. When you see people talking about high split for the folks watching, DOCSIS 3.1 ain't even done. Okay.
Yeah, that's
DOCSIS
true.
3.1 already included high split. High split is not DOCSIS 4. DOCSIS 4 is symmetrical 10 gig. I can go ahead and let you guys know we ain't getting that anytime soon.
Yeah.
1 gig symmetrical is the target for most cable operators who are even trying to do full DOCSIS 3.1.
And we haven't even got there yet. I'm on Comcast, and Comcast is not even trying.
Yeah,
understand the DC metro area is not trying at all.
They're not doing the whole country at once. They're doing location. So Spectrum is mostly done like the Southern Ohio part. They've done most of the Northern Texas part. They've done a bunch of Kentucky. My area got delayed a whole nother like 9 months out before the hurricane hit. So I'm looking at even longer now, probably. So DOCSIS 5.0 is a joke. They're talking about 25 gig down by 10 gig. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know. The only way you're ever gonna see 25 by 10 gig is if all these companies go full duplex, which I can go ahead and tell you, Spectrum ain't doing it.
They're not gonna do.
They're not gonna do it.
They're not gonna do it
because TDD makes things way more complicated, especially when it comes to looking for noise in your plant. Noise becomes a bigger problem. Which is why I wish they would desert everything below 42 megahertz. But that's just me.
But here's the thing. It also comes back around to commercial versus residential. Cable companies have already decided that customers don't need 10 gigs. Like, I mean, they might do it for marketing, but
commercial don't either. Let's just be real.
I don't know, man. I don't know. When I look at Linus is like running his own cake. He's running his own fiber right now.
But Linus is just doing it for the heck of it. He's not doing real usage. Commercial don't need it either.
Hey, look. I watched this.
Unless you are YouTube, if you are running a major social media site or video streaming service, you need 10 and 20 gigs. If you are selling toothbrushes, you don't need 10 to 20 gigs. Not unless you're doing 4K video conference calls with every customer about the new toothbrush, and you got 400 people in the call center.
Our new toothbrushes model here. Can you see the dimples on the brushes?
We have been sold a lie, and that is the biggest problem with internet. Everybody has been told that they need all this throughput that they don't really need. What you really need is to get the speed that you sign up for all the time, which nobody's getting. Fiber and cable customers are not getting their full speed all the time. It's just cable's worse. Because cable people are sharing, 2 gigs throughput with like 300 people. So when I talk about fiber sharing 10 gigs with like 32 people, yeah, that's okay. Okay, if everybody signs up for 1 gig and they all actually try to download at the same time, obviously everybody's slowing down, right? Well, cable's worse. Cable's worse. You got 300 people sharing 2 gig downstream. It's worse.
So you had just said a while ago that on the cellular side, we all if you could just get 2 gigs to the site
per macro site, yes.
Macro site, right?
Yeah.
So as a person who has home internet, what will be that sweet spot that if everybody can just hit that mark?
If everybody can get 1 gig, we'll be fine for probably the next 10 years. If everybody can get true 1 gig. Yeah.
I believe that.
And sales records
1
prove
gig.
It. Sales prove it. So 1 gig sales, 2, 3, 4, 5 gigs is not selling high enough for anybody to really care. So yes, we can sell bandwidth no one needs, right? But the reality is it doesn't actually sell. So trying to sell something that no one wants is like the way to kill your business. So you focus your money in the right places, which should be your, the quality of your network, not the max speed your network can do. Quality is more important, because the better the quality of your network is, the less throughput you actually need, because a lot of people blame speed for stuff that speed has nothing to do with.
Well, here's the thing, a lot of people are going to base their opinion, especially like gamers, on their connection to Steam. But if Steam is not going to upgrade their backhaul connection, then you don't benefit from it at all.
Upgraded internet speed, say they're having the same problem, and I go, well, no duh. your speed wasn't your problem to begin with. Your ping being all over the place is your problem. Speed doesn't change that.
Now, here's the thing. With us moving more and more, like you're starting to get more fiber connections, maybe not for the residential side, but fiber is moving more on the further back end than it is. Tell you something.
Residential fiber is building faster than DOCSIS 3.1.
Wow.
because most of the residential fiber is going into rural places. And all the companies who were actually choosing to do it are trying to get as much new territory. Basically, all these rural places are unclaimed territory. So any company who is putting their existing plant ahead of building out is dumb. Because everybody knows whoever builds fiber somewhere wins. Whoever builds it first, they win. Dang. And no other fiber provider is going to show up. It's just not going to happen. So
see right here. So when I read this article, it says, is DOCSIS 5G worth it? And
5.0, you said
5.0.
Maybe for the cable companies, yes. If they can make it work. Because once again, it lets them avoid, for like I said, for the big two would cost over $100 billion to go to fiber.
But I mean, whenever a cable company's upgrading their plan, they're slowly migrating away from coax and moving more into fiber.
You say that, right? But you don't realize that journey started in the 90s. It didn't start 10 years ago.
Right.
They've already done the majority of the back end fiber stuff that they need to do. Everything else is just reallocating the exact same existing stuff. They're not building more fiber to offset it. They're just allocating more pairs to areas. So, for example, if you already got a splice can there with 144 counts of fiber in it, and you're only using 12 of them fibers, how many you got left in that already existing can? You got enough to put a crap ton more nodes all over that same exact area without having to build a bunch of miles of fiber. Is the point I'm trying to make.
That's true.
So, yes, they're shortening how much coax is between you and the node as they go, but they're not having to build a bunch of miles of fiber to do that. They already built it 20 years ago. That's what I'm saying. You go to any given splice can and they got a whole tray that ain't got nothing spliced in it because it's just been sitting there waiting for a use case.
So as a person, as a frustrated Comcast customer,
So
as a frustrated Comcast customer, I'm basically waiting for Comcast to go, okay, I guess we can upgrade you now.
Well, I kept telling you need to find somebody inside of Comcast so they can give you they probably have an internal timeline for their builds in each area. You just got to find that person who knows it. You need to befriend a maintenance man up there, sir.
Hey, look, I'm tempted to stop in front of some of these vans, but then
the vans ain't gonna know.
I'm crazy.
The vans ain't gonna know, sir. You gotta get a
bucket. The vans
are
not gonna know.
They're not. They don't even do that type of work. How would they know?
The bucket trucks, they're more elusive, sir.
Well, they
hide.
You need to befriend the bucket truck man because he is going to be involved in the upgrade. The
Look,
guy
man,
in the van,
those guys he's hiding, man.
The guy in the van is just removing house amps right now to get all the old house amps out. They don't know timeline typically. Their only part in the whole thing is making sure that they clear noise, as much noise as they can from every house and removing house amps. Because once high split comes in, old house amps are no longer compatible.
That's true. I understand.
Once the frequency ranges change for what can be amplified upstream and downstream, the only thing the field techs do is remove the amps. So, but 25 gig DOCSIS 5, yeah, good luck with that. It's gonna be 2033, and we're just gonna be like getting DOCSIS 4 started. Okay,
look, man, we haven't even got DOCSIS 4 started.
I know, because DOCSIS 3.1 still ain't finished. High split. So in theory, right, if every cable co would have buckled down, like, I don't know, 10 years ago and started splitting like crazy and maybe removing house amps already. But here's the other thing. Standard for DOCSIS 3.1 existed before there were even amplifiers to implement it fully. The amplifiers that can actually do true DOCSIS 3.1 didn't exist until like the beginning of last year.
What?
No, they didn't. No. Why would you make something no one wants?
Wow.
If the cable companies ain't gonna order the amp, why you gonna build it? Nobody does.
Man, they were talking about DOCSIS 4.0 10 years ago.
Yeah, but you're talking about the standards, not the manufacturers. Hell, the modem manufacturers only agreed on a DOCSIS 4 standard for their modems like 9 months ago.
Wow.
Bro, all I'm saying is like, it's just like 3GPP, right? 3GPP rolls out all these things, right? But the companies don't implement them immediately.
No, they don't.
That was implemented some of the stuff that was in 3GPP 4 or 5 years ago are just now being tried in some of the networks. That's just the way it goes. So if you're an equipment manufacturer and you already make amplifiers that can go up to 1.2 gigahertz, and the highest split on that amplifier is around 82 megahertz, and you already have a customer for that amplifier, why are you going to invest millions of dollars making an amp that splits at 206 megahertz when no one wants it? You're not. You're going to wait till the companies who would actually buy it, the big guys like Comcast and Charter, roll up and say, all right, we need them amps now. And then you're going to go, all right, we need you to promise that you're going to buy, this many units. Right. And we'll do the R&D to make it happen and standardize it.
You know what? See, here's the problem.
Oh, and they're making what's called a dummy amp.
Capitalism is the problem. Okay? But let's call it what it is. Capitalism is the problem.
But that's the way it works. That's business.
Because look, I ended up reading how, like, if you go to like South Korea, right? Mm-hmm. You go to South Korea, they literally live in the future. Yep. Where we are living, like, we can't even get our socks on. And we're like, understand, we're still arguing over whether or not, like, standards are still being in place. And the other countries are like, we've already done that. We've already moved on to something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you, the situation has gotten so dire that it's gotten to this point where you have all these different manufacturers making equipment and all their stuff isn't compatible with each other's stuff. And what I mean by that is like physically compatible. Like this company's amplifiers don't fit in that company's housing or whatever, right? Well, so the same thing was happening a few years back with like cable modems and routers, where you had all these different manufacturers all making different routers, different cable modems. They technically are all the same standard as far as what they operate, right? But the physical attributes were different. Well, most of these companies now, like Xfinity and Spectrum, are having custom-made routers, custom-made modems. If you haven't noticed, when you look at the XB line,
the Xfinity line is totally different.
That is made by the manufacturers just for Xfinity, right? So Xfinity says this is our housing, this is how the Ethernet ports go on the back, this is the power supply that it uses, this is the form factor, whatever, right? Well, they now, because they have an exact design for themselves, they can get 5 different manufacturers to make the exact same router. The customer sees the exact same router, but it's made by a whole nother company, and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
The same thing is being pushed in the hardware side of the DOCSIS networking. They want to make nodes that from any brand will all be the same module, all be the same power pack, all be the same housing form factor.
When you had fight between, like, let's say you stayed in a place where you can get both Comcast and FiOS, right?
Yep.
The modems and the cable boxes, the boxes were look just alike. I mean, they plug directly into the coax line because they didn't run a dedicated fiber line to every dwelling. You got a dedicated box. The boxes all look about the same. What was it for a time there? Like a lot of the Comcast boxes was like that silver with the clock on the front.
Yeah,
it was ugly as hell.
Yeah, but even then there's still a bunch of different equipment. Like there's 5, like for example, Legacy Time Warner has like 4 different DVRs that all do the exact same things. They look totally different, got different power packs, different color clocks, all the crap is different. So what happens whenever the power supply goes bad on this one, but that's a model you don't have right now, and you got to get a new power supply for it? You don't.
Yeah.
That's the point. But if they all have the exact same power brick, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
What I'm getting at is that simplifying the market in this standard, that's what they're heading for. They're heading for, instead of all these companies doing R&D and making their own models, the big operators are saying, look, we want this model with this chip, with this housing made. You manufacture it, we'll buy it, they'll all look the same. The Technicolor one will look the same as the Humax one, will look the same as the Zixa one, will look the same. It's all the same. It simplifies it for everybody across the board. Everybody doesn't have to do R&D. Everybody just copy this design and make this over and over as many as you can, fast as you can. Versus everybody else doing their own R&D, making their own designs, and that just takes longer. That's what's happening across the board.
It adds more chaos to the system.
Yeah. Why do you think Spectrum took the Zumo boxes from Comcast? Because it was better than designing a whole new Zumo box themselves. It's just it just makes more sense. So it's because
once you get to the place where all the thing you're going to be doing is just plugging in to get internet, it doesn't matter what box is being used at that point. Shoot, you get to the place where you just might as well just have an app.
Yeah, this ought to make my point I was making earlier. How DOCSIS 3.1 ain't even done. High split. You see, where's high split located? Is it located under DOCSIS 4 or DOCSIS 3?
It's underneath DOCSIS 3.
3.1. So we are not getting DOCSIS 4 right now.
Golly.
We are getting high split, which was a standard with 3.1.
Can we just stop giving these? Look, why are we even talking about 5.0 at this point? Like, why even talk about it?
Because you're talking about a standard versus what's actually being deployed. That is the reason why these things matter.
We haven't even left our front yard yet. We're already talking about going down the street.
Yeah. So I can go ahead and attest to the fact that what Spectrum is going to be doing is a hybrid of these two designs. So they're going to do the 1.8 on the downstream, like the DOCSIS 4, but the upstream is still staying at 204, like high split. Comcast is doing the bottom option, the bottom line. They're doing the upstream. They're going to do the upstream and the downstream as full duplex. So what Comcast is doing is actually like DOCSIS 4. But the problem is the version they're doing does not have better throughput. They're not doing it that way.
But okay, so but
why did they do it?
Is it
the reason they did it is because it won't require them to cut out taps. That's why they're doing that. They don't have to cut taps out because their existing taps can already do 1.2 gigahertz.
Oh,
So they're doing a newer version of DOCSIS simply because it's cheaper, not because it's actually better. See the gray areas that companies live in, and what's crazy?
No, companies live inside their own pocket.
Everybody knows they're going to go back after they finish, and it's going to be like 2031, and they're going to still end up expanding all the way up to 1.8. Then it's already a known thing,
man.
But this high split will get the companies who are choosing to do it. It will get them to the 1 gig symmetrical mark, which is the sweet spot.
So we got two companies doing two different paths, but basically getting to the same road.
Comcast is going to be limited on their downstream. Spectrum is going to be ever so slightly limited on the upstream. That's the path that's happening. So Spectrum is going to have better downloads. Comcast is going to have better uploads.
I can only pray, sir. I can only pray.
But here's the deal. You can already get 1 gig with both roles, and that is the mark. 1 gig is the mark. Don't get me wrong. You're going to be able to subscribe to higher tiers in that, but 1 gig is what they're aiming for. That's all they care about right now. 1 gig puts them on par with the majority of fiber customers who have fiber. The majority of those people have somewhere between 500 megs and 1 gig symmetrical. And like I said, they will carry once they complete this, which, let's just be real, neither one of these companies is going to be anywhere near completed with their high split projects.
I don't think they're going to be anywhere completed in the next 5 years.
It's going to be probably it was going to be 2027, and now it's like 2029 before completion.
And so here you go. So do they get all the way to them completed and then they flip the switch on, or do they?
No. It's already live.
Rolling? Is it more rolling?
It's already live where it's upgraded, sir. I've showed you this. How did you forget this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying in general.
It's already live.
Apparently,
installed. No, and it's been
apparently
live
I gotta wait
for
Granny. I gotta wait for Granny in another county before I can get mine. So I don't know.
It's over. It's been there has been high split with symmetrical speeds live for more than a year and a half in a bunch of places in the country. It's only delayed now in the remaining places because of the storms and things like that.
So,
yeah,
freaking Mother Nature.
Yeah, Mother Nature took a big chunk of money, and that money was going to go to high splits in a bunch of places. Also, equipment. And then I know some people say, "Well, if it was torque, why didn't they upgrade it?" Yeah, you want them to take 6 months to recover from the storm or 2? I'm just saying.
Hey. I got a whole bunch of that coax on the truck. Do you want do you want that, or you want to wait for this fiber bundle that we got to ship in? Which one you want?
You're not going to take. I'm just sorry, guys. You're not going to take, 2,000 nodes and upgrade them in 2 months. I don't care how down the network is. So no, it's not realistic to upgrade to high split since the plant's already broken. No.
Because then you got to figure out what's broken.
You're going to tell somebody, hey, in 6 months, you'll have service again. No, you can't do that because that's what it would take to upgrade at the same time. Plus, the manufacturers can't make the equipment fast enough.
And then on top of that,
the equipment's just sitting around ready to go. It ain't.
And then return on investment's not there either.
Yeah, exactly. So no, the storm did not provide a way to upgrade faster. It did not.
Look, man, God came through and was like, Etch-a-Sketch. We're going to start over.
People thought so. People don't realize it took them months to recover what existed. Now you're talking about replacing every amplifier. Yeah, that would have took 6 months.
But see, here's the thing. I mean, it was a priority just to get the cell sites back online.
Cell sites back up took days.
Yeah. I mean, the Comcasts, T-Mobiles and Verizon and AT&Ts are not going to wait around for a whole network build just to get their services back online.
They don't have time for these things. They need to get the stuff back in line first. And then, like I said, the equipment ain't even that plentiful. The equipment you need to do these upgrades ain't that plentiful.
Well, sir, I got one more story, and this is our age-old story that me and you have talked about. And I always look for articles to try to combat your pessimism. I try my best.
I
really
may leave the room.
Hey! It just means I'm winning. That's all that means. You leave, I win. That's all. That's how I take it.
Better, brother.
Of course. Have we not learned anything? It's about how I feel.
Well, since everybody think they soldiers, we go to war. In the words of the great Pastor Troy, we'll go to war.
We go to war.
You tell P I said we'll go to war.
So batteries versus engines. I come across an article to present to you, my good man. Here we go. Battery replacement costs are poised to plunge cheaper than.
It's been real, y'all know radio about to sign off.
Hey, look, man, I literally hunt for these articles, yo, because hey, look, I tried to. Talking to you sometimes is hard because we are both very ingrained in what we do. Okay, I respect your opinion always, but yo, the signs are showing.
Your opinion.
Hey, signs are showing, man. Hey, we getting there.
What, they throwing gang signs at you?
Hey, man, they're getting there.
You over there EV walking, cuz?
EV cripping.
On charge, cuz, on charge.
On charge, blood, on charge, man. But yo, so with lithium prices falling, battery replacements, which is a major concern for people. I've talked to people about it sitting in my car. I mean, you've talked about it. We've seen articles talk about it. But once we get to we said that, hey, battery prices have to come at or below fixing the engine, getting a brand new engine, and $4,000. They said $4,000 here for a brand new engine to put inside of a vehicle. It's the sweet spot, and I'm saying that might be coming to truth. And we're not that far away. We're talking about within the next, I say, 5 or 6 years. What say you, sir? What say you? Longevity of some of these vehicles. I mean, we could end up seeing like a Model S or staying on the road for 15 years.
All I'm saying is they need the car. You said that the average replacement mileage would be 300,000 miles.
300,000.
First of all, no one's going to keep an EV for 300,000 miles. That's the first thing.
A lot of people don't even get to 100,000 miles. Okay,
so
right,
we're ready to put money on it.
But
then leave.
Look, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Okay.
My name Darryl. Leave me alone.
No, man. No.
My name Darryl.
Look. Okay. Here's me. With the price.
I'll tell you what. You better keep your car for 300,000 miles.
Hey, look.
And then when the battery go, you better get a replacement because you know you ain't gonna do that.
Look, I might try to trade it in before that happens.
Battery replacement or engine replacement is for the second in gas-powered vehicles are not keeping their cars 300,000 miles. They're just not doing it. Yes, there's the one-off granddaddy that bought the Camaro in 1976, and he's on his third engine. Yes, those people exist. But this does not apply.
So how much is the LS engine right now? Crate LS engine.
First of all, nobody gets a crate engine in a used car, sir. It doesn't happen.
But
It's not a real thing.
Well,
Stop
I'm just saying
watching
that that's what
no
they're
one
dropping in
does
some
that.
of these.
They go to the junkyard and get another engine for $800. That's what they do.
Get a junk car, but then now you got to take all that. You got to do all that work to take it out of that engine.
Bro. I can go to the junkyard tomorrow and get an engine out in less than an hour.
Sir,
what are you
we're
talking
not all
about?
you.
This is how say you've never done it without saying you've never done it. Bro,
I've never
I can
done
change the engine and transmission in a Honda in 2.5 hours by myself. Don't believe me? You better ask some car people. like a supercar or something. I can pull a motor out about anything in less than 3 hours by myself. Okay. So no, you're talking about you got to buy. No, you don't got to buy the whole car. You go to pull apart, and they've already pulled the engine for you, used for $900 max. And remember, LSs are in all kinds of cars.
That's true.
And most of them are wrecked, which means the motor's got low mileage. You're getting a slightly used Corvette motor for $900.
Well,
from like a 2001 model that was wrecked.
What we need to pause on is the fact that all these LS vehicles keep getting wrecked. That's what we need to go at. Like, why are these vehicles wrecking like this?
I mean, it's mainly the fast ones getting wrecked. That's just like, look, let's go to pull apart right now. See if you want to play this game. See, I don't like doing what is. I like doing guarantees. Yeah. So I'm currently located in a state that you know of.
Right.
Let me see if I can get me an LS motor real quick, sir.
Sweet home Carolina.
Yeah. All right, what car do we got that has LS? Of course, you're gonna say Corvette because that's more expensive.
I mean, Corvettes.
All right, forget it. Let's go Corvette then. Let's go for it, bro. But remember, it got to be a realistic year. You can't be like a 2020 because ain't nobody running.
No.
It's gonna be like
that would be the C8, wouldn't it?
Yeah, let's just say like it's a 2010 used Corvette that I just spun the burns out of the bottom of the block. Okay,
right.
Spun my burns and I'm crying because my Corvette messed up. All right, let's look at years. Let's say I got a 2010. All right. Search. All right, that one doesn't have one in stock. Let's go over here.
All
right. Let's see. Remember, there are junkyards that you can't search on the internet. There's even places where there's piles of LS motors like just already piled up. By the way, Keon, just
sitting around waiting.
Yeah, they're just waiting for somebody to come by them.
Well, look. While you're looking for that, I wanted to finish this part. So prices could come down to $400
per. There you go.
What?
$400. I can get an LS right now for $400.
Okay.
From the junkyard, and if you go on eBay, $800.
I would like to say this. We have to also talk about the average consumer here
knows what they're doing.
So let's say that
Meemaw ain't trying to go buy an engine for her car, okay? It's not happening. It doesn't exist.
If you went to the dealership, if you deserve
Corvette, to be ripped off like a Tesla owner.
But a lot of people do this. A lot.
They deserve it. That ain't my problem. I'm talking about car guys. Listen, the only people complaining about Tesla batteries are car guys.
No. But I'm talking about regular consumers.
Regular consumers don't matter. They don't matter, sir.
We're talking about regular consumers.
A regular consumer with a Tesla can't just go get a freaking battery pack, sir.
No, you can't.
So my point exactly. You just said regular consumer.
But I'm talking about regular consumer in a gas car. They literally go to the dealership.
The regular person who's actually repairing a car is a mechanic or a car dealership owner, not Meemaw. That's not real. You don't believe me? Go to a dealership. You go to a dealership tomorrow. I don't care what car brand it is, and you ask them how many engine replacements they did on out of warranty cars this month, they'll probably say 0. That's a fact.
I understand.
They will literally tell you, no, the people don't come here with that. Because they know they're gonna get hit over the head. No one does that. The only engines the dealership is replacing is under warranty stuff, sir. Ain't nobody showing up with a 2010 Tacoma to the Toyota dealership talking about it's making a knocking noise, and the Toyota dealership tells us, yes, sir, you've blown up your motor, man. Your bearings just, and the guy pays to get it replaced. That does not happen. No. That guy is headed right to Daryl's tune shop, and Daryl's gonna go, well, we're gonna check the junkyard and see if we can find you a motor. And then they find him a motor for about $700. They go and pick it up, and then they charge him about $1,800 and send him out with another motor. Okay. That's the reality. Okay. And if he goes to Pedro's shop, he gonna still pay $700 for the motor, but the labor's only gonna be $400, so he gonna be out of there for like $1,100. Okay, at Pedro. I can get a motor.
Pedro's pretty good, man.
I can get a motor put in about any Honda by the Mexican homies for like $300 or $400, and they warranty they work for 90 days.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know why? Because it only take them 3 hours to do the work.
Man,
they still charge $100 an hour.
Just see, every single time you know what make it so bad. Every single time I think I got you, you always have a way out, bro. You always.
Are you using what dealerships charge as regular people rates? Regular people who have out of warranty vehicles don't even go to the dealership.
You wouldn't
even do that. You would not even do that, Keon. Not even you.
But guess what?
No one would. Any out of warranty vehicle has no business being at a dealership unless it's getting traded in.
The reason why I bring that up is because me not to take her car to the dealership to go get her oil change. Before she met me, she would take her car to the dealership to get her oil change. And now, I gotta go and reset the counter on her car because the car is like, we're 115 miles behind due, and she's freaking out because that's what she sees on her dash, and she's willing to go drive to Honda right now just to get that off her dash because like the oil is old. She don't drive enough to make the oil even turn colors.
Here you go, Keon.
The oil hasn't even turned colors.
You ready? If you need an engine for your 2012 to 2015 Honda Civic, $364.
Okay, so let's see.
$300 engine. And if you got a friend like me, I can change it out for you. I'll charge you $300. I'll change it out for you. I'll charge you $300. You'll be $664 out the door.
I got a friend in me.
I even throw on the fluid because the engine only take 3.5 quarts. The filter by $6. $600, dog. I got you.
Man.
Look, even if you had to rebuild an engine, you get the whole. If you go through Liberty Engines, shout out to Liberty Engines, you can get the whole rebuild kit for that engine for like $180. So even if you buy a used engine for $364, you put another $180, you can rebuild it with all new bearings, seals, gaskets. You still got to basically refurbish engine at that point for less than $500 on a 2015 Honda Civic, dog.
So you said it was what was it? You just said it would cost like how much?
For which car?
For the Honda Civic. How much?
Honda Civic 2015 engine, $364 for the engine.
364.
And if you don't trust it and you want to rebuild it, you can pull the head off of it, take it to the machine shop. If you go to Allison Machine Shop, they'll probably redo that whole head for you for like $70. That means they're gonna reseat the valves and everything for you, set everything up, and then you can get an engine rebuild kit from Liberty Engines for less than $200 and put all new gasket seals, bearings, and everything in that damn thing.
Hey, a new battery pack for a Model 3 is $2,100
right now. $2,100 right now. Today.
When the battery prices fall, it's not even.
No.
Not yet.
Look. Yeah, until the tariffs kick in.
Look, sir. Look. We almost got there, and all of a sudden, we got
2,100. I believe it when you ready to take that bet yet?
Look, man.
I don't make excuses.
You 60. Look, a 60 kilowatt
on this.
A 60 kilowatt battery pack for a Model 3. Let's say a 2012, 2013, even like let's say the same age as a Civic, would cost probably somewhere between $2,100.
This is the other thing. They talking about it would cost you $10,000 for a high performance 4-cylinder engine. They are nuts. I can build like a overbuilt monster 4-cylinder engine for like $6,000.
Oh,
this is bro. You can build a 400 horsepower 4-cylinder for $10,000. Bro, the people who you get for these articles from are completely out of touch with reality.
Look, I think that
they act like they got crack prices on everything.
Hey, look, I think that they're using the same exact metrics of a lot of people don't have Julio in the back pocket.
That's a lie. That is a lie,
lot of people
sir.
Don't. A lot of people don't.
They won't soon if Trump does what he says, but that is a lie. That is a lie.
No, man,
lie.
a lot of people don't, bro, man.
I can get a JDM K20 engine right now for $649. With your $10,000 price that they claim is going to cost to replace it, right? I can put probably $4,000 in that engine and end up with a turbocharger and everything on it for like $5,000-6,000. Where are they getting $10,000 from? They're insane.
Look, man. Hey, look. I will tell you this: there are people who end up buying like Mercedes Benzes and BMWs, and they don't want to do, the oil change on them because it's $300 and $400.
I know more than anybody this, sir. I used to work in car shops, and I would always see these people get these used BMWs during tax time because the last owner was smart enough to get rid of it. And they picked it up and they're like, yeah, I got this $325. I only paid $5,000. I'm like, yeah, and it needs $5,000 in repairs. I'm like, yeah, our alert control is bad. That's $2,000.
I think a lot of these prices are dealership prices,
but
not
no one does
Julio prices. We're not dealing with Julio.
These repairs at dealerships other than warranty vehicles. That's why that's dumb.
Hey, man.
That's why it's dumb. That's why it's dumb.
That's what I'm seeing the price numbers and like I understand where you're coming from. You can look, you can go to the junkyard, get X, Y, and Z for a certain price. Junkyard prices, bro. Yes. If you know somebody who's good at what they do, they can get you a better deal. But a majority of people that don't know anything about cars.
Well, look, they deserve to be screwed. We ain't talking about them. We're talking about, listen, once again, let me repeat myself. The only people complaining about Tesla repair prices are car guys, and car guys already know how much stuff costs. True. The regular consumers are not screaming from the mountaintops battery replacement costs. Their car friends are telling them about the replacement costs, and they're choosing not to.
Well, look, the conversations I had with people, the first thing that they say that the reason why they don't want to get one is because they worried about the battery. Like,
but they got that information they got that information from car people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They didn't come up with that on their own. People like Scotty Kilmer on YouTube are going, don't do it.
Yes.
Don't do it. Because he understands.
Hey, look, yeah. What is it? There's an EV guy that's demucking him, like doing response videos every time Kilmer gets up there and talks about EVs. And because. But here's the thing. I think that are there any merits to like parts and labor and different things? Yes. Like, but you can go and get a brand new vehicle.
The used market. Remember, I told you the used market is where all the money is made in cars. Okay,
right.
The used market is run by car people, not regular consumers. Regular consumers do not control the used market. If you are in the business of buying and selling and modifying vehicles, a EV is a no-profit vehicle because of the cost of repair. That is the reason that the used market is why EVs are bad cars right now, not the new market. In the used market, say you run your Model Y to death and you get all the way down and you got like 40% battery health. There is no used car dealer that could ever make any money with your car. That is if the used market is what runs the car business, and there is no used market that is reliable in the EV space, then the EVs are not ready for prime time. When you
there's a secondary market for bad batteries, right?
Understood, but that's not what controls the car market. The used car market runs cars. New car sales are less profitable than used cars. When you inflate the cost of repair for used vehicles, you null and void the value of said used vehicle. That is the problem.
Here's the problem. This is what I see.
Well,
right?
I'm asking you this: where is the $6,000 used Tesla at that still has a decent battery?
Sitting on Hertz parking lot.
No, they want 20 for it. That's what I'm telling you. But guess what? I can go get a 2014, 2015, 16 model car that when it was new was like $33,000. I can find it right now on a used lot for $6,000. I can find it right now. There is no $6,000 Teslas that are ready to ride, and they can tell you this car is going to last you years. There's Teslas that actually have true. That means a used Tesla that has over 90,000
over 90,000
under the price of $6,000. Yeah, that's the used market range. Most used market vehicles are between 90 to 150,000 miles.
Ooh,
that's the truth.
Tesla Model 3 with 133,000 miles of car cruise.
How much they want for it?
15.
There you go. See the problem? Now imagine you're the used buyer who buys that thing and the battery conks out on you 20,000 miles from now. That car just went from costing you 15 to 18,000. And that's with your lower prices. But with current prices, it went from $15,000 to $25,000 car. That is the problem. That's all we say. You can cut out of it. Good luck doing that with a Tesla.
101K miles for 15.
15. Okay, so that's the 2019, right?
Yeah.
And that's a what? What car is that? Model 3?
Model 3.
So the equivalent is what? A Toyota Corolla?
Corolla. Well,
it ain't gonna be big as a Camry.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it's small. So I would say Corolla, a high-end Corolla.
Don't say high-end Corolla, sir. That is an insult to Toyota.
It's a high-end, man.
The Model 3 is not high-end at all. They made so damn cheap. It's insane.
No. Hey, look. Are they cheap? Yes. They're cheap as hell.
Now, let me find one with 90,000 miles. I got to find one with all them miles on it. I found one. So around the same miles, they're about the same cost right now. But the difference is the Corolla don't have a $10,000 repair bill waiting on it. It's going to go another 100,000 miles without that bill. Is that Tesla?
Oh, man.
All I'm saying is when a person buys a Toyota, they know they can drive for 250,000
inside that
miles.
article, I would like to say inside that previous article, they talked about a Tesla Model S had like a million and a half miles on it.
What about all the rest?
And they said that it had 4 battery pack changes.
Oh yeah, that ain't cool. That's $40,000 of batteries, and that's me being nice because it's really over $100,000 of batteries.
But here's the thing: they talking about up to 300,000 miles per battery.
That's still $20,000
so we obviously know
300,000 miles. I can literally keep buying new cars and get the same effect. And at least
we obviously know that a lot of people don't even go up to past 100K.
Before they sell or trade the
before
vehicle.
they sell it, right?
Exactly. But my point, what I just said a while ago, the used market.
Oh man,
yeah. Once again,
I'm reeling you in, sir. I'm reeling you in.
What I'm saying closer. Is that used Tesla now has a question mark floating above it, and every lot it's sitting on.
Look, this Tesla, this 2018 got a question mark. That 133K.
Every one of them got a question mark sitting over the roof when you walking through.
Look, man, but hey,
it's like, who's dumb enough to jump up and hit the block like Super Mario with his head?
Look,
you know?
Hey, look.
The used market just ain't in favor, man, with these cars. That's why I'm saying, man, when you can start getting, when the used market lines up better, meaning this, right? If you buy a used car that's say 10 years old, and the biggest expense you could ever expect from that vehicle is about $5,000, we need the same thing for the Tesla. And let's just be real. If you buy a Toyota Corolla with 100,000 miles, if you change it, if it didn't already damage, and you change the oil and air filters, and you get your fluids and things updated, you're probably going to make it to like 250,000 miles. But with this Tesla, you're probably not. You're probably
it's
not
a bigger
mystery.
It's a bigger mystery. But here's the thing: I have seen people buy used cars from like auctions and different places, and literally they break
that
6 days after they got it.
You're not listening again. I'm not talking about the consumer. I'm talking about the used car dealer.
True.
The dealer is going to have a harder time selling a used Tesla with a bunch of miles. So I'll give you an example. That 2018 Model 3, that's 15,000 on your screen right now.
Yeah.
133,000 miles. I want you to bookmark the page that car is on, and you tell me when that thing sells. And you're probably going to have to copy the VIN number if they provide it. And that way, because think about it, just because it disappears from that lot doesn't mean it's sold. They may have just traded with another dealer. Which is why I want you to show me when that thing sells. I bet money he got that thing 6 months from now. And he's trying to figure out how to get rid of it. I'm trying to tell you, I bet he's trying to figure out how to get rid of that thing. By that time, it's going to be some random dealer in Cali who needs to copy that VIN number. And I want you to show me. Most of the sites will tell you. They'll tell you how many days they've had it.
See full list of details.
You'll probably look and see that it had that car for like 200 days. Because they can't sell it.
Hold on. Yeah, it took me to another page.
I'll be watching these. I watch these car YouTubers, and they show how they literally had like Ford dealerships had F-150s that were in stock for like 400 days.
Wow.
But it's because people weren't buying, because you're talking about $90,000. Like, people ain't buying cars that expensive, man. The market ain't gonna make that realistic. You got to find out how many days they've had it on their lot. Battery charge time 10 hours.
See, you know what? See,
that's on a 220 outlet.
240.
That is 220, sir. Same difference. 220, 240, same thing. 110, 120, same thing. When they say 240, they mean 220. Remember, you got overhead.
Condition used, sedan, white.
We want to know how long it's been on that lot. Sometimes they don't want to. Sometimes these dealerships don't want to tell you.
No, they don't. I don't think they want to show.
But some of them, you can find out. You can find out how long they've had them on the lot. Been in inventory for 190 days. Like if you go to like a Ford dealership website, they'll tell you how many days.
I don't think the car
things like that.
is going to tell me.
Yeah. You need to find the actual dealer site, Alpha Motorsports, and see if they share it. But like big car dealers, they share it. They'll tell you like, oh, it's been a lot for 190 days or 60 days or 20 days. That's how you find out what's selling as an outside consumer. If anybody ever wanted to know, go to your local dealerships websites. They tend to tell you how long they've had the car.
Oh, this right here will be a problem. CCS and third party NAS charging not installed. You have to find somebody install. There's a box that you got to put on the
good luck
on the charger that lets you charge at any CCS like competitor. So that car will be a nuisance.
Good luck selling it. So I'm gonna tell you, man. But no, like I said, EVs are clearly going to make progress. I never said they wouldn't. I just said they ain't ready, and you keep trying to prove to me every week that they're ready.
I'm not saying that they're ready yet. I'm just saying that we're heading down the path.
Get back to me in 10 years, because that's when it'll actually matter.
Oh,
get back at me in about 10 years, and we'll talk about it. In 10 years, we'll probably be able to charge them in like 20 minutes.
Fully charged. I mean, I could almost fully charge my car to 80% in like 20 minutes from dead.
That's what you say.
Yeah.
But if we actually had a charging monitor tracker, we would see that there are many times you fall short.
Hey, whoa. See, I've had to educate people in my car about this because people ask me like, well, I heard it takes 3 years to charge a car up. Like, I had to cut you the full-on country guy.
3 years is an exaggeration.
And I was like, look, let me set this record straight for you. I said, I could charge my vehicle in multiple different ways. I said that if I came to visit you and there was nobody to charge in sight, I could plug my car into your wall outlet where you got your light bulb, and it will take me 30 hours. I can washer and dryer in your home, and I plug into that. I can get 30 miles an hour. And then I said, if you go to a supercharge, you get 30 miles per second. See,
all I'm saying is the
big differences.
The day that you can charge as fast as you can pump gas is the day that this conversation ends.
It'll never end, sir.
It's that simple, man. Even my 37-gallon bucket truck, when used at a full-size diesel pump, can be full from empty. 37 gallons of fuel can be filled in less than 3 minutes.
I feel that metric doesn't really make any difference anymore.
It does, and the sales show it.
Hey. I think that
I know
range.
You love using the word thing.
I think
range is another way to
more than how fast it
both
charges.
Equally matter, but no company has achieved either properly. So, why you got to keep playing this game? You gotta. We already had this conversation. You gotta either get a bunch more range or much faster charging. You don't need both, but you need one.
The Porsche Macan, man, that's a charging beast.
Macan,
you didn't. Yes, the Porsche Macan charges crazy fast.
Never heard of Macan. I heard of Taycan. Never heard of a Macan. Let's see. The Macan
is another one.
There is such thing as a Macan.
There is a Macan. No, I think it's a Taycan. I think it's a Taycan.
Porsche Macan has an option for a 2-liter 4-cylinder or a 2.9-liter V6. You were mistaken, sir. It's Taycan.
It's not the Macan. It's the
yeah, exactly.
No, the YouTuber that I watched, they're doing. I have
the EV charger. That's what happened.
Look, I'm about to sit down and watch.
But bro, it only has a 274-mile range, bro, in the Taycan.
But it charges fast.
Yeah, but the range is dog crap.
But that's what I'm saying. See what I'm saying?
It gets 100. Listen, it still takes 18 minutes to get 190 miles, sir.
But I'm just saying that's a whole lot faster.
Still not matching. Again,
that vehicle beat all the rest of the EVs.
You are muted.
On the market.
You are muted from talking about charging times until they match gas charging. Gas filling. When they match, then you get to talk, sir. But stop telling me about the little baby steps everybody's taking. I don't care. I need to know that I can roll up and fill up my full range of my vehicle in 5 minutes or less. Full range of my vehicle, and it doesn't matter what temperature it is outside.
Oh Lord.
That means when it's -9 or it's 100 degrees, I need to be able to fill up in the same amount of time. That means that me switching to an EV leaves no sacrifices. Because once you remove the sacrifices, it's a clear doorway. It's a clear doorway to change. But Keon failed to mention that the Taycan, the cheapest one's $100,000. So good luck with that part. Okay. Good luck with that part.
I did not say
the price. Okay,
Taycan, I didn't bring up the price.
A used Taycan's over $100,000.
I didn't bring up the price because I didn't think it was relevant to the conversation.
It is relevant because
I didn't. Look.
Let's go to Porsche's website. Let's play the game.
Oh Lord.
Sir. Let's look at an equivalent.
Now you just dig it in. Now you just dig it in. This is abuse now.
Okay. So the closest thing. So the Taycans are what, 4 doors now?
Yes.
Okay. So the equivalent to a Taycan is going to be a Panorama, even though that ain't really an equivalent. They're kind of weird how they did that with the cars. Why these car companies play so many games? Either way.
Because they keep you guessing.
All righty. Porsche Panamera. Yeah, you can get a gas-powered Panorama for $102,800. And it's like literally like 60% larger than a Taycan. As far as man, the Taycan's playing games is what it's doing.
Look, man, I watched rebuilds.
Of course,
like literally.
Okay, it's a half a second faster to 60, and it's a smaller car. Whoa, wow, big surprise!
Wow,
it's only a half a second faster, by the way.
What the behind the electric?
The electric is only a half a second faster than the non-electric version, sir.
Wow, I would expect that to be a whole lot faster.
My point exactly, sir. The gasoline Porsche is a half a second slower than the electric Porsche. No winning right there. You only got 402 horsepower. Once again, I'll repeat, it is a smaller vehicle than the one that's only a half a second faster. Half a second slower. Yeah, they didn't even get a real big jump in how fast it is. And it's smaller.
Wow.
That's what hilarious.
Look, sir.
All right.
One day I'm going to get you. One day I'm going to get you, man.
Also has less range than the gas.
Yes, it does.
But the gas one feels faster, has better range, has a hybrid turbo option. You can go hybrid in the Panorama, dog. Wait a minute. We killing the range now. Oh, shoot. Oh, shucks.
No, not shucks. No, not shucks, sir.
Oh, shoot. You can get the hybrid for $102,000. It's a hybrid, Keon. Oh, snap.
Oh,
dang. And to make things worse, there are Panorama versions that are faster than the Taycan. There's a Panorama that is literally a second faster than a Taycan with the gas engine. So Toyota, look, Porsche can't even claim their EVs faster. They have a gas one that can do 3.5 seconds to 60. The Taycan is only 4.5. So not only is the Taycan slower than the gasoline option,
I think they use a smaller motor in there as well.
Of course, it's so the most expensive Taycan can outrun the Panorama one by 0.3 of a second. No, it's 0.2 of a second, but it only costs about $30,000 more.
Wow.
Yeah, man. You keep your Taycan, big dog. I'm good on.
Look, sir. Look.
I think it's a cool car.
I'm gonna get you one day, man. My determination.
I told you. Look, show you. 2 years ago, I told you 10 years, and I will be right. In 10 years, EVs, or we're going to have 5-minute
10 years
charging.
a sliding scale?
It's not.
Because you said
No.
2 years
I
ago was
said
10
2
years.
years ago it would be
That would
10
make
years.
that would make 8
so
years.
2 years ago was 2022, so 2032. We will have 5-minute charging EVs, and this conversation will stop. But until then, until they got 5-minute, 300-mile range EVs, 5-minute charging, 300-mile range minimum.
Oh,
and that's me being nice, because there are literally SUVs that have 400-mile range that can be filled in 3 minutes that are not hybrids on the market right now. There are 400 plus mile range SUVs, Keon, on the market right now that cost $30 to fill the tank.
Okay, let me ask you this question. So you're saying that people are going to care about those two metrics, charging
that will be the holdouts.
Range.
The holdouts are going to be those things bother them. The holdouts, meaning the people who are like heavy, like for example, my brother-in-law, no BS. My brother-in-law loves to drive, right? He bought a brand new Toyota Camry and proceeded to put on 60,000 miles in under 2 years.
Ooh, he drive more than I do.
He could not do that with an EV. Oh, he was running to DC, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee. He's running all over the place, just driving everywhere. He had a brand new car. And
I don't love driving that much, man. I do not love driving that much.
My point is, if he had an EV, that wouldn't have been realistic for him.
So let me ask this question: What numbers would change your mind? Now we're not talking about the holdouts. We're talking about just sales numbers. Like what? At what point? Like
the holdouts are the reasons why EVs haven't taken over. The holdouts ain't gonna just let go of what they're holding because it's Thursday. They need their pain points healed before they jump ship.
And I feel like range is the pain point that people gravitate towards the most.
Range and charging are the same thing, Keon. They are the same pain point. You're fixing the same pain point either way, sir. How do you not see this?
Because I don't think that they're going to increase the range as much.
Then
and they're not. They might improve charging.
You still didn't answer the question.
They might improve charging.
You are arguing that range and not charging is the problem. What I'm telling you that they solve the same problem. Explain to me how they don't.
Because I feel like they're normally, especially.
I said for the customer, not your long scientific answer. For the customer who needs their car readily available at all times without stopping for 20 and 30-minute charging sessions. More range and faster charging give them the same results. If the car has 1,000-mile range, they can make it all the way to Florida without stopping for a charge. If the car charges in 5 minutes, it's no more painful than a gasoline vehicle. Same problem solved. I am not arguing against range. I'm saying I'll take either, and you keep acting as if I'm arguing opposite. Both things give you the same solution. If charging is a pain point, more range will fix that. If charging is a pain point, faster charging will also fix that. Same problem, sir. Not different.
I see faster charging.
If you want to go from DC to Miami right now, how many times and how much time would it take you in charging right now with your current tech?
Oh, I would say
if you'll be realistic,
2 hours behind a gas car.
Are you sure about that?
Maybe 2.5, maybe 3.
The truth is, it's like 3.5. So you're talking about you're going to spend just as much charging as damn near half the drive. You said Miami. You said you would be able to go to Miami with only 2 hours of charging.
What I would say.
Okay, let me fill you.
What from DC to Miami?
DC to Miami.
Oh no, we're looking at maybe 4 or 5 hours.
There you go. It's 9. So from DC to Miami via road, is a 15-hour drive, 1,057 miles. What is the range of your EV right now?
300.
So you have a 300-mile range, right? So that means it's going to take you roughly 3.25 charges, full charges, to get there. Now, like I know,
I'm not going to be able to do full
if the
charging
car
like
is
that.
too hot or too cold, it won't charge at full speed.
Right.
So you can't use exact charging in these metrics. The reality is, if you just keep it real, you're really looking at an hour for every charge. In reality, if you have to add the variables of possible fail points, like you get there and there's already people at the chargers. You get there and the car's too warm. You get there,
I can tell you this much. What you end up doing, especially if you're on a road trip like that, you charge hop. So like,
but that means you only bunch of stops, and you're charging.
You make a whole bunch of stops.
That still
but
adds
you
up
actually
to a
charge,
lot of time.
but you end up charging. But you end up moving faster, though.
Kind of fast.
So like, you don't charge you don't charge all the way for a whole hour. You only charge for like 20 minutes each stop.
Okay, I get that, right? But that time still adds up. Instead of stopping 3 times in a perfect world, you're gonna stop like 6 times,
maybe even more. I would say. I say you might end up charging. I think you might be stopping like 10 times.
All right, so 20 minutes times 10.
10.
How many hours is that? Plus adding and maybe waiting for a charger because there's too many people already there. Because that happens. I've seen.
You drive at night.
I've literally. No. We ain't gonna. No, we're acting like it's a gas car, sir. Direct comparison. We're doing direct comparison. That's all I'm saying. Direct comparison matters. You said 10 times?
You might be 10 times.
That is approximately 200 minutes of charge.
200 minutes. Divided by 60. 3.3 hours.
3.3 hours of just charging on top of your
your
20-hour drive. So a 20-hour drive. So I'm just saying, you probably shouldn't be trying to stay awake that long while driving.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
I would not do that.
I recently drove to Dallas and back, and I'm here to tell you that 30-something hours of driving is painful. Okay.
Bruh, I wouldn't even.
I was from the Piedmont Triad area of North Carolina. I was about half dead by the time I got to Mississippi.
Wow. Did y'all you drove that? Y'all drove that straight, though, right?
We drove it straight. 2 people drove it straight. I drove way more than the other person. The other person drove a whopping total of about 5 hours. I drove the rest. Okay?
So what you're saying is that basically you had enough time to cat down, and you're right behind the wheel again.
On the way back, I took an hour nap in the back of the vehicle at a random McDonald's parking lot because I thought I was going to kill everybody in the motor vehicle. Okay.
Wow.
So out of a 34-hour drive, I drove 29 of those hours, divided into 2 segments.
Sir,
for me, sir. 14 and a half.
We are sightseeing
per session for me. 14 and a half hours there, 14 and a half hours back. And I'm here to tell you that the only saving grace of your EV is it forces you to take a nap. Okay. The gas car is like, we're ready to go, boss.
I get, hey. If anything, I get built-in brakes, sir. I have built-in brakes.
Yes.
I have built-in potty brakes inside of my charging apparatus. Okay, I'm forced to stop. There's no driving forever.
But like I said too, in the gasoline car, you have the ability to run that car with only 5 miles left without fear. You don't really have that in EVs yet either.
Depending on the EV.
And believe me, I literally do this with my working environment weekly. I literally drive a vehicle that I have to put 37 gallons into roughly every 1.5 days.
Yeah.
And I can run that thing to 0 without fear.
Okay. Here's the thing. Zero is
Imagine
relative.
now I got to worry about charging.
0 is relative depending on the automaker. So like for
I
Teslas,
understand
0%. There's a 4. Like I looked at mine the other day. It's a 4 kilowatt buffer behind 0.
But that's not a new thing though. Like for example, Honda, you got like 32 miles left at 0.
So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know,
we know
what was it? I was watching.
But in an EV, you still can't play that game because guess what? When you're in the gasoline vehicle, there is 1,000% a charger within your range. In an EV, it's not.
That's true. That's
so
true.
When you're running a business that is time real, right, and random, right? For example, the trucking industry ain't that random. It is, but it ain't. Right, if a trucking line decides to go to EV trucks, right, they're going to set up predetermined routes with charging stations for those routes, right? But they're not going to send a guy out on a 28 state run and give him random loads and expect that he can keep a charge time frame properly. That's why when you talked about how some company was like, yeah, we can use EVs, I'm like, yeah, on their set routes. Those are like short routes. Companies have short routes and they have long routes, right? There are some companies whose drivers come home every day because they have basically set routes. Like they do the same 600-mile run every day, right? But the company that goes, all right, you're going to take off towards New York and we may call you at a random side track in New Jersey. And then we're going to call you at a random runoff into Maine. And then we're going to call you at a random runoff to Ontario. And then you're going to swing around and come all the way back down to Tennessee. And then we're going to call you at a route for it.
No. I believe that.
Because they'll get a random extra load, and their whole goal is keep that
always keep it
moving as possible, so make as much money as possible. Right? Doing that with an EV truck is not realistic. But for the company who has the same like distribution route, say it's Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah.
And they deliver to the same 25 distribution centers over and over. They can preset routes for stuff like that with an EV. But for the companies that are not doing that, they can't do that. They just can't. They can't have a tour because now he's 200 miles from the nearest charger that'll charge that big thing. They can't do that. That's why I laugh when people about, oh, well, see, look, you said they couldn't do a transfer truck. No, you're talking about set route stuff. Like the trucking company who runs from California to Vegas daily. They have a set route. They can play that game. They're not going, hey, we need to run 200 miles out of your way to Arizona real quick. They can't do that with an EV transfer truck.
No, I know. I know exactly what you're talking about.
My business is the same way. We don't know where that outage is going to be. We don't know. That outage just happens. And if I'm sitting there with a vehicle that requires 30 minutes to get the charge, but the outage has an SLA time of an hour, I'm going to lose 30 minutes on my SLA just charging the vehicle.
Hey, what if I told you that they're coming out with hybrid transfer trucks?
Well, no, duh. Those already exist, sir.
Well, I mean, I was watching the YouTuber doing with the Edison Motors. Yeah, they were coming up with like transfer trucks hybrid system.
Yeah, that's not new. You late again on the
ball. Look, man, I'm just reporting the news. I didn't say I know all the news, but I'm just saying I talk to enough people. I feel that range is always that Achilles heel, and we've gotten to the place where having an electric vehicle, you can accomplish a lot of your tasks. Period. Right, but the holdouts are people who like to take road trips. And those are the people that buy cars. Those are the people that move the market. So if a road trip family don't feel like they can take a road trip in an EV, they're not going to buy one. Period.
Or if they do buy one, it's their secondary vehicle, and they only use it to grocery get. But it still does not kill the other side of the market. But yeah, here goes your hybrid truck. If you notice, the battery is detachable.
Wow.
Yeah, the battery pack. Do you know why it's detachable? Because it don't charge fast enough, even when attached to the vehicle, which is why it's detachable. they're offsetting the downsides of charging. Even the truck can't charge that thing fast enough for it to just be stuck to the vehicle at all times. Because they need what? They need the ability to be random.
Wow.
They need the ability to be random.
Right.
So what it is, there's actually an electrified axle in the rear. The separate motor all the way in that rear section. Separate electric motor. So instead of putting the electric motor in the transmission side, it's in that rear axle section of the vehicle. So basically, they can attach this to any transfer truck.
So it's an independent system.
It's an independent system that you can modify an existing platform to run in a hybrid configuration. It's actually pretty smart if you think about it. So imagine that truck that already has such amount of range, right? But you add this hybrid system to that existing truck, you've now extended the range of that truck a lot. When he's in stop and go traffic, he can switch to the hybrid system and use the EV to push him in traffic. And then when he gets back on the highway, he can go back to the gas engine.
That's true.
It's pretty smart. It's a way to keep the best of both worlds. That's what this is. Meaning this truck can just fill up anytime and not worry about if the battery fails. Guess what? It doesn't care if the battery fails. It can just disable that axle in the rear and just rely on the gas and the engine to get them onto their destination, including that random detour off of 200 miles away.
Damn, that's true. That's true.
But if it was EV only, it's in trouble.
Which is why you got to have planned routes.
Yeah. Like I said, planned routes, you can do electrified trucks all day with planned routes because you know the mileage already. There's no randomness to it. I'm not saying EVs will never.
I'm gonna find it. I'm telling you, man. I'm getting closer.
I'm not an EV hater. I'm an EV realist.
I'm getting closer, sir. I feel like we're right on the cusp. That's
You're
how
like,
I look.
I want it now. Make sense of it later. Or AKA, that's future Edmund's problem.
Oh. See, I knew that was gonna start bothering me later. I knew it was coming back.
I told somebody at work and they died. They died, bro. I was like, I'm gonna use that at work one of these days. I was like, man, that's future. That's future Aries problem.
Oh,
they like to choke on their drink.
Hey man, sometimes you gotta worry. You can't worry about those consequences right now. You can't worry about the consequences right now, man.
Like condom, no condom. That's future.
That's future. Problem. Yeah. That's his problem, not mine.
Yeah, everybody's got it now.
Oh,
put it on the line,
man.
This is just fun, brother. I love coming with you every now and then, but I'm gonna give you another hiatus break from me. But I had to come give you hell tonight, brother.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for stopping by, man. Hey, look. For those that would like to continue with the antics, this is on. I have it on replay. Let's see. If you have any other news, I had somebody ask me about some Bitcoin. I couldn't find a recent story about Bitcoin of late, so I didn't. That's why I didn't bring it up. What about Bitcoin?
Oh God.
People want to know about it, man. You
know what? You can't afford to buy one. Go home. End of the story.
Look. I don't even want to play it because I thought about it. I can't play.
Rich. Okay, are you saying crypto or Bitcoin specifically? You got
crypto. I don't. They didn't.
Okay, then don't say Bitcoin. Don't say Bitcoin.
I said the reason why I said Bitcoin. I consider all of them in the same boat. Right. It's not. So, I don't separate. I don't separate them out.
You asked for this. So I had this conversation earlier because one of my buddies just now discovered Dogecoin and how it's climbing again, right? And I died because I was like, bro, I was one of the earliest people in Doge. Okay, put your money somewhere else. There will be that. Listen, guys, there will never be another Bitcoin.
No.
Bitcoin
because it came out so random.
It was first too. Bitcoin was first. There will never be another one that booms like Bitcoin. It's just not going to happen. So anybody thinking that you're going to put $1,000 into some new cryptocurrency, and you're gonna be a billionaire later. Good luck with that crap.
No, you gonna make somebody else a billionaire.
The reality is, people like Elon are planning and plotting on people like you. They are going to buy an excess amount of this coin just to inflate it, so you all buy it, and then they're going to dump it. They're going to dump it, make a big profit, and laugh at you guys.
Pump and dump, baby.
Do not fall for this crap. Just don't do it. And if you don't like what I just said, you're the problem.
What's up, Cave?
You're gonna get pumped and dumped by Elon the way his daddy did his stepson.
Oh, man, sir, man.
Truth.
Man, you throwing shots while leaving the building. But yo, hey, thank y'all for watching. Hey, look, there's different ways to get in contact with the show. If you want to be part of, or you want to contribute, you might have something like Bitcoin on your mind, so we can tell you how crazy the idea is, and you want to hear us talk about how crazy the idea is in more realistic form. Hey, submit your articles via the Twitters, or whatever social media that I end up migrating to soon. But I'll try to bring it on stage and talk about it. But no radio /Aries. I gotta get used to calling you Aries, man. I met you when I met you. You were No Radio, bro. That was the thing.
Yeah, but I've been Aries much longer, sir.
I know. I'm just saying, like when you introduce yourself, you were No Radio. So
I'll just say I have been Aries since about 2007. No Radio.
I was born into this.
No Radio is 5G world me. No Radio.
We see how you feel about that.
Yeah, that's 5G me. Entertainment world me is Aries, aka Aries Love.
Right.
Album coming soon.
No, I feel you.
Album cover. I know you saw the album cover.
I need to talk to you more about that too.
And I got 2 more album covers.
Ooh, I do like that. I do like the album cover, sir. I do like that album
cover. I got 2 more that the world ain't seen, because I'm gonna do a special edition with a signature, and it's a whole nother world into that.
Okay, that's what's up. Hey, look, everybody, thank y'all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and follow me for more antics